Is Trump a Christian? Now, we may not know that answer. I can't say a definitive yes or no, but we're going to talk about some things in his life. And then we're going to talk about how, as a Christian, or how, as a non-Christian, someone who looks at Trump, should we respond in saying, okay, he's the candidate for us or not? Well, that should be an easy answer for you because of the party. But we're going to discuss that in this video. Is he a Christian or not? And should we support him or not? Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Mags. Thank you so very much for being here. You see that this is the addition. If you're watching our vlog channel, you know we're doing an addition to our home. So excuse the ugly background. But I love seeing that work is happening. And we're going to use it for more of our family. Again, we are a family of 8, so we need the space. We've outgrown the table and the little breakfast nook, so that's going to become the new dining area. And of course we homeschool too, so it's always pandemonium here. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up if you like the content. If not, that's okay, but let us know what your thoughts are. Now, today we're going to be discussing just one thing. Our politicians, when they claim to know Christ or not, when they claim to know God or not, when they talk about their faith or not, you know, that's a big subject, especially in a situation where we're really in post-Christian modern time frame. This is a time where, you know, the Christian voting bloc is huge, but it's not what it once was. It doesn't have the power that it once had. We don't have the leaders really focusing on true Christ-like ways. I think of people, of course, like John MacArthur. I think of people like, Robert Jeffers, or a Cliff that goes to the colleges, Jack Hibbs. And then I think of people like Charlie Kirk and so forth. We have good leaders, but the question is, when it comes to our politicians, do we really have politicians that represent us? Now, for the most part, there's a lot of, especially on the Republican side, 90% or 95% would say they're faith-driven. They believe in God. They're their terms are very simple, and they tend to not be bold. They tend to be very, very, where you're like, okay, what does that actually mean? I rely on my faith. They never talk about, Jesus, or talk about the importance of being a Christian and truly being a Christian nation, things like that. So let's start off first off saying with Trump. Do we believe that Trump is a Christian, or is Trump a Christian? Of course, we don't know that. This is just all speculation. There's a few things I want to look at. In the Bible, it talks about us not being the ones to judge. We don't know that. But we can, by the fruits of the Spirit, tell if someone is living a life that's pleasing to Christ and they're following Christ or not. I have a blueberry bush sitting right beside me. If you know, this is our blueberries right beside us. If that blueberry bush starts putting on blueberries, then I know it was a blueberry bush. If someone walked up to our property and it never put off a blueberry, they wouldn't know it's a blueberry bush, and truthfully, it may just be a weed. They have no a distinction between that being a blueberry bush or not, compared to the fact that it either puts off fruit or it doesn't. If it does not put off fruit, then it's worthless and it may just be a weed. Well, the same thing happens when it comes to our politicians. It's all about the actions that they promote or they profess. Now, as someone who is a Christian, the Republican Party does represent us more. Does that mean that everyone in the Republican Party are truly Christ following? No. They may have a religion of some sort. They may even have a moral compass of some sort. And that's all great. I think of Vivek. Vivek has a good moral compass, but he is not a professing Christian. He's a Hindu. Harmeet Dillon, same way. And of course, a lot of other conservatives that are non-Christians. The problem I have is not with them. The problem I have is with people that profess to be Christ followers, but then they may cuss every other word. Or they may degrade to a point where it's not just about a policy, but it's just complete and utter foolishness by talking down to someone. As we talk about Trump, has Trump done a lot for Christians? Yes, to be honest with you, I'm going to say this. I don't believe Trump is probably a Christian, a true converted Christian. I hope he is. I believe he's got a moral compass. I believe he has a big heart. And I believe he probably has went to church several times. But to say he's converted, I don't know. But by his fruits, the man, he curses all the time and probably doesn't have the cleanest walk. Does that mean he's not saved? No, that does not mean he's not saved, and I would never be the one to judge that. Here's what I'm saying. Don't miss the point of the video. As Christians, though, the reason I think we tend to go and run to following Trump and saying that he is going to be the one we vote for is this. We have had a lot of other leaders promise movements on Roe. It never happened. Under Trump it did. Now, does that mean he actually believes in fully pro-life? He's come out and said it. He's not. But he helped Christians fulfill something that we wanted. I've seen him hold up a Bible and he quote or try to quote some verses, and he may say instead of 2 Corinthians or 2 Timothy or 2 Thessalonians, he may say like 2 Corinthians, 2 Timothy, and he may quote something a little bit wrong. Does that mean that he's wrong? No. What I do think, though, is he is a friend of Christians. I don't believe that he is going to persecute the church like the other side is persecuting the church. I think about the people that were sitting at the clinic and blocked the way, quote unquote, blocked the way by singing hymns and praying, and now they're spending 10 years in jail. A 70-something-year-old spending time in jail because she was willing to pray at a clinic to stop the abortion from happening. Now, does that mean as Christians we shouldn't support Trump if we don't believe he is a Christian? No, I told you this before. I'm not electing Trump, or I'm not even electing Vivek, or I'm not electing J.D. Vance or whomever to be the one that leads my Bible study. He is not the one I'm looking for to be my representation of Christ. That's where we're wrong. That's not what the election's about. It's about electing someone who we believe will do better. Yes, for groceries, yes, for interest, yes, for insurance, yes, for inflation, but ultimately to be a friend to Christians. Now, does that mean that he won't make bad decisions? Absolutely not. We're all foolish and we're going to make bad decisions. However, we did get Roe overturned to where states can have a little bit more of a conservative view. Is some states going to be completely pro-life? Heck no. Do we ever think that even DeSantis would allow for a true pro-life stance in the White House and it would actually pass? It won't pass because you don't have enough Republicans to pass it. So to say that he did or didn't do something right or wrong when it comes to his pro-life stance, it's not about that to me. It's about the fact that he allowed it to happen when George Bush, when all the other conservatives said they were going to make it happen and reverse Roe, they didn't do it. All your politicians promise us things. So far, Trump has delivered on a lot of things that benefits Christians. Now let's go to this election. You have two choices. And you have RFK too, don't get me wrong. But either you find someone like Trump who may be someone who uses a filthy language. I love what he said about Franklin Graham. Franklin Graham was saying your stories would be even better if you didn't use cursing and foul language. I think that's amazing that someone called his hand at it. Does that mean he's non-safe? No. Does that mean that he is living a terrible life? No. Does that mean he's not going to be a friend of Christians? No. I think actually it means he is living who he's going to be. I'd rather him be real and true and not a fake politician like we have now, because I have a lot of professing Christians. I think of several politicians that are professing Christians that are still doing insider trading, that are still cursing every other word, that are still trying to represent who they are, but ultimately they're representing selfishness and pride. Look at a lot of our elected officials. They represent that. Just because they choose to wear the badge of being a Christian more than what Trump would be, does that mean they're any more saved? Does not. So, we have Trump on one side, who has been a friend to Christians, no matter if he's a Christian or not. He's been a friend to Christians. Same with Vivek. He's a friend to morals and values, which is a Christian stance, compared to Kamala, who is standing up on complete and utter depravity when it comes to how we as Christians believe in morals and values. Now, you can't tell me, as a Christian, a true threadbare Christian who supports the true Christian background, the doctrine of Christ and the whole Bible, support someone who represents complete and utter pro-choice, complete and utter ideology of this pride, and complete and utter degradation of a party as a whole. The DNC does not support the platform of God in Christ. So as a Christian, your choices are, okay, someone who is completely representing a depraved party. Not saying Kamala's depraved. I mean, I don't know her heart the same way. But the party itself has stood on things that are immoral against Christianity. To a party where it does not say they're perfect, does not represent fully Christ, because they've got some falters too, but that are at least friends of the party. That's what we've got to look at. Now, do I wish Trump would quit cursing? Do I wish he would quit being so degrading to the situation where instead of talking about how bad some person is, talk about the merits of what he could do and how he could change from that. Yes, I do wish he would do all that. But when it comes down to it, as a Christian, you really have one choice. Is Trump a Christian or not? Not for us to say. But he is a friend to Christians, and I believe that represents what we need more than ever. These blueberry bushes, they're beautiful. They make a great hedge. They're pretty, they're green, they're gorgeous, but they have a purpose of providing fruit. Now, if they never provide food again, does that mean they're worthless? No, they can still be used as a hedge. They can still be used as a pretty plant. But there's still ableness to feed another. So that's the cool thing about blueberries. Some blueberry bushes actually do not produce blueberries, or they don't produce enough of them. But what they do is they allow our bees and our pollinators to cross-pollinate and make surpluses on other blueberries. So sometimes that blueberry bush may not be the blueberry producer, but it may help fulfill the blueberries on the other tree. Now let's think about that on the politicians. I hope Trump becomes saved. I hope he's saved now, but I hope if he's not, he makes a world difference and converts and starts a revival in this country. Because it looks like the Republican Party is moving away from a God-centered Republican Party to where they're more American-centered. There's good things about America, but it's not as God-centered or as morally structured as I like. But say that blueberry bush, as Trump, he may not be a Christian. Vivek may not be a Christian. But they may help the Christian movement by not hindering it and giving us the freedoms and not persecute us like the other party. That's the way we got to look at it. So, again, rant for the day, but my thoughts is this. Does it matter if he's a Christian or not? To be honest with you, if he's going to keep cursing and, living a life that's probably not pleasing the Lord, I would rather him not call himself a Christian, personally. Just like most politicians, I hate them wearing, quote-unquote, their faith, but then they'll curse every other term or get caught in a sleazy situation. I would rather them not wear the name of Christ. But to ultimately say that they're not helping fulfill what God may have in their life or for us as Christians, I believe we have a chance to keep furthering a light and shining our light and being more open with our Christianity under this leadership of Trump than definitely under Kamala. It's just my thoughts. Hope I didn't offend you today. But what I want you to do is realize if we are going to be the ones that represents God and Christ here on earth, then yes, we will see tougher times and we'll have more persecution coming, definitely. But at the same point, when it's allowed to have someone who is a friend to Christians, even if they're not a Christ follower, if they're a friend to us, then it allows us to fulfill what God may want for our lives. So I think embrace that. It's not about Trump being a Christian or not, but if he's willing to stand against some of the depravity and the immoral living that the other side is trying to push, it can only benefit us, I think, as we go further on this journey. And you never know. Revival may break out. But it may take you being the one to be the shining light for your area, your town, your family. Be the light. Guys, thank you so much for watching.